Hey everyone, this is Omobi and this is episode 6 of the Trading Without Borders podcast. So how are we all doing today? Trust we're all looking forward to the holidays. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Maybe that's why I felt like listening to music and dancing before recording it, and I definitely did, and I enjoyed myself. So I don't know if that's going to be another routine apart from my water drinking routine. Okay, so for today's episode, we will continue from what I had started last week, the rules of origin. That's the determining the nationality or the origin of a product. And I had mentioned that and the reason why that is to check if a product will fall under the preferential treatment under the AfCFTA. So I had mentioned last week that there are two criteria that will be used to check if a product is eligible to enjoy the preferential treatment under the AfCFTA. So the first one is the only obtained criteria. That means that product must have been only obtained in an AfCFTA member country. For example, you have vegetables that have been harvested in an AfCFTA member country, live animals, we have fruits, we have natural honey. So like stuff like that, I talked more on that last week. That's so for only obtained criteria, that's those products are getting from an AfCFTA member country. That's for that. Then the second criteria is the substantial transformation criteria. So like this one is basically if a non-originating material has been added to a product in manufacturing or producing it, what's the extent? What's the extent of this transformation work that product will undergo for it to qualify for preferential treatment under the AfCFTA? So that's what we are looking at today. So what's the extent of the transformation work? Because it's not all processing or transformation that qualifies the product for that substantial transformation criteria. We'll look into that. We're talking more on the product, processing of works that does not qualify for substantial transformation under that's next week. But for today, so there are some conditions that will be used to check for substantial transformation. So you're looking at the value of non-originating material added in that product. Because I'll just go for people that are familiar with international trade export that they've been doing that, you realize that there are some, of course, rules of origin already exist, so somewhat similar. That's the rules of origin being used by the EFCA is similar to the ones being used by the regional economic communities. We have such as the ECOWAS, we have the EAC, East African Communities, and Arab Maghreb Union, and so on and the like. So the rules of origin criteria that AfCFTA will be using, it will be similar. Some are still being negotiated. So some have been decided already, some are still being, but by the time everything is already or out, we'll get to know more of this in future episodes. So what's the value of non-originating material? Maybe that's like a raw material or an input that's been used on that product, maybe gotten from a non-AfCFTA member state. What's the certain percentage? Because the rules of origin are product specific. It's not necessarily generic or sector. So it's on each. So if it's been stated that for this product, the value of non-originating materials must not exceed 50%. It's then whatever you're using, value of non-originating materials on that product must not exceed 50. Then if it does, it's not it can't qualify for that. So if the value of non-originating materials used on it does not exceed, then that's fine. Then it can qualify for that. Then you're also looking at the specific processing. That's the technical test, because it's not all processing or work done on the product qualifies this as substantial transformation. There can be some could just be basic processing, but it must meet the specific processing conditions for the origin status to be conferred on the product so that they can enjoy preferential treatment. And another one is the tariff classifications. For people that are familiar with international trade as well, or experts, you're aware that tariff codes that are used on products or commodities or goods, and just to classify them when to classify goods globally. So they are known as HS code. So if you are using non-originating material on a product, and by the time the product is worked upon, has been substantially worked upon, it must change. The tariff classification has to change. So let's say you are producing an household furniture. Of course, maybe you got the wood from a non-member country and it's being cut in another country. So if the wood, the tariff classification, that's not the way it's usually HS blah 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 blah. Let's just say it's AAAA and you've cut it is also AEB something. Then by the time the finished product, that the product must be not as, it must change completely. Maybe it's probably around ZZ or something. I'm just using that. They are the codes. There are codes that are being used, but I'm just using because I don't want to use any product code. That's why I'm just giving examples. So once the product has been completed, then the tariff classification has to change as well. So that's basically it for determining substantial transformation works. So next week we'll talk about more on substantial transformation, and we'll also look at when product has been manufactured or obtained in various AfCFTA country. That's the accumulation criteria. Then we'll look at it as well. So for now, this is where we're going to be ending it for this episode. Thank you everyone for listening. So if you need any more information, please reach out to me. As I always say, it's just for educational purposes. And to everyone that has been listening from episode 1, thank you. If you haven't listened to any, you need to please go right and listen to the other episode, and please subscribe, like, and also share the podcast to your friends, to colleagues, to loved ones. Okay, bye bye. Talk to you next week.